Good evening, I'm Taylor Thomas with a CTV News update. A bus accident closes a busy gas station in Forestville, and we learned from the scene that it was potentially a very dangerous situation. Take a look at this. This was the scene at 10:45 this morning in Forestville at the Shell gas station in the 3600 block of Stewart Road. It is a yellow bus, but it's not a county school bus. It's actually used for CDL training. This is the owner of the Shell gas station. He goes by KB.
Yes, I have spoken to the company's owner, and he says those people were the trainees, and he got nervous, and instead of hitting the brake pedal, he hit the gas pedal, and he couldn't control the bus. So the bus went into the building.
PGPD says several adult males were injured. They suffered non-life-threatening injuries. You can see some of the trainees in the distance looking at the bus inside the building. And as first responders clear the scene, the bus crashed through the only office wall at the gas station. That's normally where KB sits in the morning.
He was supposed to be there at 9 o'clock. Yeah, for some reason he got delayed, and he got saved, yeah.
The damage to the building is substantial. The owner says structural engineers will have to assess the integrity of the business, but he believes it will be several weeks before they can reopen. Hurricane Ian carved a path of destruction across Florida, trapping people in flooded homes, leaving at least 2 dead and knocking out power to over 2 million people. Ian, which is now a tropical storm, is now churning off Florida's east coast and expected to regain strength and become a hurricane again later this evening. Ian is predicted to make landfall near Charleston, South Carolina, tomorrow morning or early afternoon. The governor.
Highest priority is the preservation of life and safety. DHS is working with our federal, state, local, and non-governmental partners to support the needs of the areas that are and may be impacted by Hurricane Ian.
Some of the folks have been through this before, but that doesn't make it any easier. Actually makes the anxiety even higher, in my view. My message to the people of Florida and to the country is, at times like this, America comes together. We're going to pull together as one team, as one America.
The governors of North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, and Virginia have declared states of emergencies ahead of the storm. Maryland officials announced indictments involving a, quote, sophisticated drug operation. Officials say 6 men have been charged with more than 50 separate counts, including participating in a criminal organization, distribution of dangerous substances, and gun charges. Attorney General Brian Frost says the group ran a drug ring selling fentanyl in Baltimore City, Baltimore, and Howard counties.
Investigators seized more than 2 kilograms of fentanyl, $55,000 in cash, 6 handguns. Investigators linked the controlled substances provided by members of the criminal enterprises to 6 overdoses and, we believed, 2 fatalities.
Frost says members of the drug operation communicated with each other via text messages and third-party apps. A federal grand jury has indicted a Rockville couple. They are accused of sending confidential health information to a purported Russian agent who was assisting Russia in the war against Ukraine. 36-year-old Anna Gabrielian is a doctor. Her husband, 39-year-old Jamie Henry, is a U.S. Army doctor who had a secret-level security clearance. The two have been charged with conspiracy to cause harm to the U.S. and disclosing individual health information about Americans associated with the government and military. If convicted, they face up to 15 years behind bars. You're watching CTV News. I'm Taylor Thomas. Coming up, a visit with District 6 School Board candidate Ashley Kearney. Stay tuned.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Welcome back. Here are today's COVID-19 numbers for the state and the county. The Maryland Department of Health has confirmed 860 new cases. That does not include the number of people who self-test. The county's positivity rate is at 8.84%. 4 Marylanders have died of COVID over the past 24 hours, and 433 people are hospitalized. She's an award-winning educator with more than a decade of teaching secondary mathematics. Now, Ashley Kearney is running for the Prince George's School Board in District 6.
Educator. I've been teaching in DC public schools for over 10 years, and now I am a systems integration manager. I do collaborative work with policy, school improvement, and teacher evaluation work. But I'm a regional child. I'm originally from Washington, DC, but my parents graduated from Central High School. So I'm a child of DC, but also a child of Prince George's County. Have family all over the district, so I'm excited to be able to represent, including my nieces who are in district schools as well.
For more information on her campaign, log on to Ashley Kearney for schoolboard.com. The College Park City Council votes to oppose CB 97, a Prince George's zoning bill that could make the county more marketable for developers. The measure, which would impact downtown College Park and the Lakeland community, would lower development standards in some areas to prioritize access. In a letter, the City Council says it's a dangerous precedent to allow projects to go through an expedited review process. County Council member Denny Taveras introduced the bill on September 13th. The Purple Line is not scheduled to open until 2026, but the project is already facing concerns about gentrification. A new study by the group Purple Line Corridor Coalition is looking at ways to prevent that from happening. It's suggesting that accessibility to impacted communities be improved. The report says areas vulnerable to gentrification include Langley Park and Riverdale. After the release of convicted murderer Adnan Syed, the victim's family files an appeal. The family of Haimi Lee, the former girlfriend of Syed, plans to appeal a Baltimore judge's decision that overturned his murder conviction. The family says their rights were violated because they were not able to, quote, meaningfully participate in Syed's hearing. Syed has spent the past 22 years in prison for the murder of Lee. Indigenous People Day, also known as Native American Day, will be celebrated across the country on Monday, October the 10th. But activities and events will actually start this weekend, including a teach-in about sovereignty and treaties that takes place on Saturday.
I think it's a really important opportunity for Native to be connected with Native voices and really connect history and present day events. So a lot of times in the curriculum across the country, what we see is a real emphasis on Native American people being taught about in the past. So we think it's really important to connect the dots between the past and today and let people know that Native people are vibrant, are resilient, are still here, and have a lot of issues that we really want to tell more people about and have people learn about.
For more information on events taking place in honor of Native American Day, log on to americanindian.si.edu. And we'll be back with more news in just a moment. Stay tuned.
When I never graduated from high school, I realized I wanted to go back to school because I didn't want to work these back-breaking jobs the rest of my life. With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed to come back to school. I felt accomplished, made me feel that I could take on whatever challenges life throws at you.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
Prince George's police are investigating a fatal stabbing in Langley Park. It happened just after 3 p.m. yesterday on the 2300 block of University Boulevard. Police found the victim near a wooded area behind a McDonald's. It is the same vicinity where a man was shot and killed on August 24th. As for the stabbing victim, police say a person who was involved during that incident was at the scene. They did not say whether that person was a suspect. A new report says industrial facilities are dumping chemicals into Maryland waterways at an alarming rate. The Maryland Purge Foundation says at least 94,000 pounds of toxic chemicals, including PFAS, and many eventually may make their way to area watersheds, that is. The facility releases the most was the Grace Davison Curtison Bay Works in southwest Baltimore. It emitted 79,000 pounds of chemicals into the Gunpowder and Patapsco watershed. Congratulations to the newest law enforcement officers in Prince George's. 37 recruits graduated from the County Police Training Academy yesterday. 26 will join the Prince George's County Department. 7 will join the Sheriff's Office. The others are going to Bowie, New Carrollton, and Capitol Heights Police Departments. And now, with a brief look at sports, here's Laurencia Moten.
Thanks, Taylor. Well, the NBA preseason has begun and some teams have traveled abroad for games. The Washington Wizards are in Japan, ready to play 2 preseason games, and all eyes will be on Rui Hachimura. The Wizards are one of the only teams that have a Japanese player on their roster. The Wizards selected Rui Hachimura as the 9th overall pick in the 2019 NBA draft, and he made history as the first Japanese player to be drafted in the first round. Breaking barriers and creating history is nothing new to Hachimura, but he says playing in his home country with his Wizards teammates is new and awesome.
It's been amazing, I get to show my country to my teammates, the culture, different culture, different people, different food, like all the kind of stuff, I can show where I grew up and to my teammate, not only the players, the coaches, the staff, and all the people. So yeah, it's a great thing.
And Rui's he's Japanese. Like, it's possible, to make it to the NBA from anywhere, and I think this is a testament of that. It's a testament of us coming here and showcasing that. We have unbelievable support over here. And this is our way of just showing it back. We're upset COVID happened, but now that's passed, we're able to bring the global games back, and it's a great way to do it with Rui representing his home country, Golden State being right there in San Fran.
The 2022 NBA Japan Games take place on Friday, September 30th and Sunday, October 2nd in Tokyo. Now, the University of Maryland football team plays on the first day of the new month, and this week's game is very special. It's for a very special cause because it's the Terps' mental health awareness game. During this week's press conference, head coach Michael Locksley explains why this initiative hits so close to home.
Taking part in raising awareness with mental health. Obviously, it's a cause that is near and dear to me, having been affected with mental health with my son Miko. I know Coach Tucker, Commissioner Warren, Rachel will be here all week.
I remember the first time I asked Coach Locksley if he wanted to do this with me. It took him about 3 seconds, and it felt like he jumped to the phone. He was like, yeah, yes. And another probably nugget that maybe you don't know is this year, this is the 3rd one we've hosted, and I just left Utah State, and these coaches share something. They've lost sons. The Utah State coach's son committed suicide earlier this year. And we know Mike Locksley, his son, he's tragically lost. And what I think is happening here that is so important is these coaches, particularly Mike, are using their pain for purpose.
What a great cause. The Terps host the Michigan State Spartans this Saturday at 3:30 p.m. And that's your CTV Sports Update.
Laurencia, I'm so proud of my alma mater. I'm really glad they're taking on this issue. And Hachimura, I love watching him on the court. I've enjoyed that, so this is going to be exciting.
Likewise.
All right, well, that wraps up our CTV News Update. I'm Taylor Thomas. This is Laurencia Moten. Good night.
Like many Native Americans, Elvis Norquay served our country as a U.S. Marine. But the biggest battle he had to face was fighting for his right to vote. As a nation, we want a fair political process, and yet state legislatures are preventing many Native Americans from voting.
The government can deny my vote. What's to stop them from denying yours?
The Native American Rights Fund is fighting for every American's constitutional right to vote. Get involved at narf.org.